Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Color Authority podcast. Today, I'm going to be talking to Andreea Hartea. She was born in Romania and currently lives and works in Italy, where in 2020, she established RAH Colour Consulting Studios, where she collaborates with architectural firms, interior designers, and internal companies. She studied visual arts at NABA here in Milan and did a 2-year program in dynamic hypnosis and analogical psychology, again, also here in Milan. She has researched topics like neuromarketing and neuroeconomics. Her research primarily draws inspiration from psychology and consciousness, focusing on the mechanisms of unconscious and emotional perception. Her fascination with the human experience fuels her exploration of the inner universe as a means to comprehend our surroundings. She provides guidance on implementing a new methodology that helps understand professionals that are engaged with end clients and addressing that challenging question: what colors should we choose? Good morning, Andreea. Welcome to the Color Authority. How are you today?
Hi, dude. Fine. I'm excited for what we will talk about.
Well, color is always an exciting topic. So as I was just telling you privately, it's one of my favorite conversations. So every time I do a podcast, I get energized. So that's a good thing, right?
Yeah, you're lucky to meet so many interesting people, really. It's like in a podcast, like the whole research that the person used to do for the whole life. So I think it's energizing, I guess.
Very much so. So we're going to talk about everything that obviously you do, and you have an amazingly interesting research that we're just going to share with the audience, at least a little bit of a sneak preview of what you're doing. But the same question is the same as always. So Andreea, what is color to you?
What is color to me? Well, color to me is that common denominator we share with all people in the world, both sighted and visually impaired, that is transcending age, gender, culture, social status. And literally for me, it's abundance. It's love. It's wealth. It's like being rich. It's like having a budget. And if you spend it, makes you happy. This is it. And when I see people who don't use colors into their lives, I feel like they are depriving themselves of a wealth somehow they have at their disposal, but they're afraid to spend it or to be judged, and they keep it really within themselves, unexpressed.
Yeah.
So this is going on a lot.
Color is abundance. I think you're the first one to say that color is abundance and that it's wealth. Because I've heard many replies. It's the first time that color is wealth, because you're absolutely right. No matter what your budget is, you can always have color. Always.
Yes, it's reachable for everybody. And I look a lot in nature, and where is color is luxury, but luxury, it's like from the vital point of view. Okay. It's alive. It's rich. It's full. It's abundant. Yeah. Abundance.
Abundance. I like that. So just before we met right now today, obviously, I think that was last week, we did an online research. So you tried me, obviously, so I could also understand your tool. So you showed me that the tool that you have developed, which we're going to talk about in a little while. But can you share with me and the audience why you're so interested in knowing more about our unconscious behavior? So unconscious behavior that we are not even aware of. So our feelings, our perceptions, where's this coming from?
This question becomes very personal. It's a little bit like an obsession somehow. I'm interested because I'm curious about the why and how of things. I feel like I didn't receive enough answer when I was a child to my all questions about why this is like this and why that is in another way. And the answer that I always received was like, you are too young to understand. But I really was curious to know the why of things. And then because I wanted to grasp the motivations behind people's actions. So what drives us to react in a certain way to what is triggering us to to behave in a certain way. And when I was young, I used to take things very personally. And that's when I become passionate about the unconscious mind. Basically, when I discovered that 95% of our behavior is automatic, okay, it's conditioned by our personal history, that what I see and what I think, it's a reflection of who I am, that the lenses through which I interpret reality don't allow me to perceive things as they truly are, but instead they are acquiring like a meaning that I unconsciously project. A whole new world open up to me, and I begin to understand myself better, and gradually I understood also the other people. And in university, in university, we always heard this phrase. They always emphasized to me that art is a shared process. Half of the meaning is given by the artist, the creator of the artwork, and the other half, it's given by the observer. So this concept of not truly being able to understand others, because simply from our perspective, we cannot fully do so, truly fascinated me and prompted me to seek a way in which I can read others without projecting myself and see them for who they really are. So with color, I could do that. And we will see how.
That is super interesting. So even though this was a very personal question, you are actually entering other people's minds as well. Every time you use your tool, which we'll dive into in a second, you get to see a little bit of that true person and who they are. And that is, I think that's a great way to, to talk about color, but also to know the people that you're surrounded with, and know how to handle them. How are they feeling? It's very, very interesting. And I think it's, in my personal opinion, I think this is very much the future of where color needs to go and hopefully also is going.
I feel that too. Yeah, there are so many people that are really trying to understand what is the personal thing, personal meaning that we give to things, with smell, with colors, with clothing, with everything. It's going well in the right direction.
So you have researched, indeed, just like you said, the effect also of color. You have researched it. You read a lot of studies, of course, like most of us have. But how do you think color is influencing, or from the research that you've read, how does color influence us, and what power does it have on our being and our emotions?
Yeah, I read so many research, and I'm so grateful to so many scientists, people, and I need to thank them, even if they don't know me, like Lisa Barrett, that she's a neuroscience, that she's studying emotions, Samir Zeki, that everybody knows, Antonio Damasio, Mark Solms, Stefano Benemeglio, that it's Italian research that he studied hypnosis and unconscious associations, Robert Lanza, Eric Kandel, Donald Hoffman, Anil Seth, who else? Vittorio Gallese for sure. And lately I discovered Carol Safina. He's studying the plants and the subjectivity of the plants. So I just discovered this concept that plants has also a kind of subjectivity that I wasn't really think about. So I study all this. I'm really influenced. I used to every day to deep into this kind of world and theories. And lately, last year, actually, I wanted to test my test too. So to make a test basically, and to see how effective it is. I wanted to measure it, and I made a public study. And basically, once I understood the chromatic identity, the colors that are important to them, I tested how much I could influence their preference among 3 images that were identical in the shapes. One was the detail of a bedroom. And one of these 3 images was fully colored with their own color. And the other 2 were random from the other people's preference. So out of 31 participants, I got 31 predictable responses. And for me, this was like, wow, I never expected to be so conclusive. I was hoping for an 80% of predictability, but 100%, it was like truly impressive. And because color, in fact, greatly influence our aesthetic judgment. If we believe that something is beautiful or not, we know that 84.7% of why we believe it, it's on to color. Only after will come in like the shape and the movement. So it's the first thing that touch our body to inform us whether something in front of us is safe or not. It tells us what to think and how to act in a very milliseconds without us having to be conscious of it. In fact, fortunately, we are not conscious of it, okay? Because if we would be, our brain battery would last like only a few minutes in the face of the million of pieces of information that we have to process in a very single moment. And colors are a very significant part of it. And the purpose of colors is indeed to evoke emotions in us, to tell us how we should behave. Should I approach that something? Or should I run away? Will it benefit me or will harm me? So it's like a preview of what could be. Okay. And for me, emotions, it's like, are like the bell that guides my reaction somehow. And my reaction, it's built on analogies, on analogies with similar things that have happened in my past. And an external stimuli in the present now may ring that bell, both in a positive and negative way from the past. So to conclude, to reassume everything is like, we don't have the idea that to be clear is that we don't have a reactive brain, but a predictive brain. And this, really, it's a new idea for the mass people, okay, for me, not for the scientists. And these words actually are coming from Lisa Barrett, that she's a neuroscientist who is completely revolutionizing the classical view of emotions. So yes. So because we are predictable, we are also readable, okay, if we know how to.
And that's obviously something that we hate. We don't like to be predictable. We don't want others to know how we're feeling, who we are, depending who, of course.
Sure.
But let's say in your own personal sphere, it's fine that people can read who you are, what you're feeling. But anybody that's outside, we'd rather like not have them know what we're doing and what we're feeling and who we really are. So a very big part is basic instinct, right? It's survival. Like that color, I need to be careful. And the other, like, for example, with types of foods, in the ancient times, certain foods, we just knew they were going to make us sick, obviously. And others were foods that probably were healthy for us. So that's also how we indirectly, all of us, are inclined towards certain colors and maybe not towards others. But then there's personal experience, as you said. I mean, you grew up in a different country than I am. So with different parents, different everything. So there's also that perception. And that's the most difficult one to understand, I guess, in other people. That requires a lot of studying of one person in the end.
Yeah, the limit is the same. It's like, I can't read you because I'm influenced by my own personal story. Yeah.
So you're always influenced by your own experience. So when we talk about how color is used today, whether it's used or not, I think there are some improvements to be made in this field. And I know you agree with that. So what do you believe is the big issue out there currently today with designers and architects when they're designing a space for their clients? What is the biggest issue?
The biggest issue to design a colored space for their clients, I would say, basically due to the lack of institutional and academic education, okay, like updating informations and theories, professionals often fear color and the personal taste of the client And somehow they're viewing it as a decorative and superficial element, whim, or even childish. So they prefer to don't use it. What has happened to color interior design in the last century has never happened before. On one hand, we have the ability to produce color that don't exist. And we are also the only animal species capable of adding color where there is none. Okay, we have this capacity. And on the other hand, color has disappeared from our homes. And before the 1900s, it wasn't like that. For centuries, wealthy individuals, aristocrats, enriched the interiors with colors and reproduction of nature using precious pigments. And the masses tried to copy as the best they could. But the home was never conceived as white, because literally a white home is incomplete. It's like a construction site in progress. And what is it? It's like we have emancipated ourselves in the meantime, alienating ourselves from our true nature. No, it's a paradox somehow. Are we truly happy living in these white boxes? Because I'm coming from the art world, and yeah, I really saw that there is a place where white boxes should, and they have a reason to exist. There are the art galleries, okay, and which is why the concept of the white cube was born. But only because we spend a few minutes there, we are passing through and we don't live inside it. And art gallery, it's literally designed to host objects and not people. So as I say this, and I'm thinking to white spaces, I'm shaking just thinking to all those white hospitals, for example. What do you think?
Well, I think if you're not feeling very well and you feel a little bit sick, the last thing you want to look at is white. White then obviously has purpose. It's sterile. So if something's dirty, you'll see it. Okay, you can't see bacteria, but okay, that's a different story. But that's the concept of white. It's pure, it's sterile, it's clean. So there is the practical part of why white is used in hospitals. But I think for the patients, it's not a great experience.
No, it's not. There are so many studies. In Germany, there are conducted beautiful studies on white hospitals and why the hospital should be the less white place in the world, because people go in the hospital to recover. So we are really vulnerable in those places. So really, as you say, is the last thing that you want to see. It's a white environment. And I don't know if you know that the worst torture in the world, somehow one of the worst, using colors or the absence of colors, it's the white room. It's an Iranian torture that it's a completely white room and you are lived there for 24 hours, 48 hours, and you just get insane. In fact, in Germany, I don't remember the hospital name, Wuppertal. The director of this hospital invited the school research of color of that area because she noticed that people after an intense surgery, an important surgery in intense care, basically everybody passed through a delirium episode. And this was for the white walls. Okay. And they made a study before and after. They just painted the walls of the hospitals, and they saw like so many improvements that are just incredible, like a medium of 55% less of medication they administered. A lot of I don't know how much percent, like 64%, the feeling that improved about privacy. Like the person felt more protected just because the walls weren't white. So just color it. So there are so many advantages to live in a colored world, let's say. Basically the world, it's colored. If it's colored, there is a reason why. So why always try to make people to understand it's like white, it's the last option. Actually, it's not an option. And if you know your colors, it's just like a pity, it's like use it. You will not regret it. Actually, you will love it. So yeah, this is it.
I have somebody who I'm supposedly going to decorate his house, and I'm going to have him listen to this part because obviously the idea is to do white. And I was like, okay, we'll talk about this later. Like, that's not going to happen. White is indeed something that, makes you also feel fragile. But talking about white, so let's talk about your methodology. So the white or the blank canvas, that's something that a lot of designers, they get excited by, like all the freedom in the world. For some people, they're like, oh, and now what? What am I supposed to do? Because that means there's absolutely, it creates anxiety. They don't know where to start. And this is often due to a lack of knowledge. Like you said, there's not academic knowledge of color within many professionals, creative professionals out there. So you developed a tool to help designers and architects to create at least a starting point. You're going to give them a kit of, these are the colors for you or for a client or for the project that are actually going to work. So can you explain what is your methodology and how you help them finding those right colors?
Okay, I understand when you said about the fear of the white canvas, because I was there too back when I was living for art. And personally, I feel free when I understand the boundaries within which I can move, basically. Total freedom seems for me too dispersive, and I understand the anxiety that everybody feel at the beginning of the project. But this anxiety comes from not knowing oneself, and the others, in this case, the client. And yeah, in the beginning, this is what we try to do. It's like to connect with the client. And quite often, actually, the client doesn't even know what they want and themselves as well to communicate to someone else, right? And the same happens to colors, actually, even worse, but because colors is an abstract concept. We don't used to think about colors, right? And if I ask to a person to name 20 specific shades of color they likes, this could be really overwhelmed for them. But after the test, when I show them their 20 colors, let's say, it becomes easier for them to recognize and confirm them. And what usually happens, they say, oh yes, these are my colors. Here they are. Or look at this. This is me. I see myself in these colors. And basically what the test does is to measure the valence that a color can have for a person. Basically, it's the positive or negative, whether you like it or not. And as I mentioned earlier, the concept of aesthetic pleasure, it's constructed, but based on the experience we live and the random colors we were surrounded by in that specific moment. So the RAH color test is like a strainer that from an initial set of colors, 230 in the case for interior design, only allows through those that are important for the person. So it's done in 3 stages. There is the mood induction, where I ask to associate emotion with genuinely lived experience. Positive emotions, if we want to understand the colors that people's like, or negative emotions that people want to discover those colors that they want to avoid, okay, or to become aware of those colors that can create an unpleasant feeling. Then I show some, in this case of the interior design test, to 25 images that are abstract. So the logical part interferes as little as possible, and the person has to make choices very quickly. Okay. In the third phase, we determine which shades have captured their attention, always through a series of choices and counter choices. And what I do is stimulating the automatic response, the one that knows, and then mediate it with the logical part to reconciliate the two sides. And in the end, the color that remains are the one that the person registered in the most happiest moment of their life. And those colors are the colors of their happy memories. I used to say like that. And when I say this, I mean that those colors were physically present in one of those moments. So the person can't help but like them, basically. In practice, what I do is guiding the person, the professionals, clients I'm collaborating with, through a process that helps me read their color preference without interfering with the result. So once I do the test, I have the result. I pass the color identity from the test to the professional, so he or she can incorporate those colors into the project. So the professionals basically knows which buttons to push and what the client likes from the beginning. Because in interior design, color is important straight right from the start for creating mood boards, renders, choosing materials, surfaces, paint walls, furniture, basically everything. And the better you know the colors, the simpler, the more creative the process of selecting all these details may become.
So I did the tests, which I thought was pretty amazing, which is all based indeed, like you said, on intuitive feelings and reactions. So the first that comes up is speaking your truth, right? So it's my truth, Judith's truth. So as I imagined, my selection greatly exists out of colors that are warm. So yellow, orange color family, no true darks, which I guess it fits indeed. Yet colors that allow for a lot of light, but the absence of certain blues and greens really surprised me, because I know that, and those were obviously the colors for my interior design, right? So not necessarily your favorite color. So people always ask, what's your favorite color? Like it's the question that just drives me absolutely mad. I think with every color person, that not necessarily are your colors, because intuitively you choose differently.
Yeah, this is a long story. We are, conditioned by the exterior. So we are influenced, and I really love to challenge people when they take the test by provoking them and say them like, let's see if I can figure out what's the color you like without you telling me anything. And every time it's like a little magic.
Yeah.
To address your concern, I have several directions. Yeah. One could be that among the 230 colors from which the selection was made, there may not have been any greens that held particular significance for you. They are not in that selection. And the ones that are in that selection, they are not important for you. So I mentioned that this selection of colors come from a study I conducted on colors that have been trendy in interior design over the past 70 years. So, colors are millions. Okay. And when someone is telling me like, but I don't find that color, that precise color that I have in my mind, is because you are right. Probably there is not in this selection of colors. That's why then I created another test with brighter colors that I used to call for media, because, they are brighter, stronger, and I took inspiration from the screens. And there is another one with more fluorescent colors for fashion. And alternative, your attachments, let's say, to those two color families may be more conceptual than emotional. Okay. It's more logical than emotional. And perhaps maybe because you know that they suit you well and tend to choose them for that reason. But in your case, hands down, an environment predominantly in warm colors make you feel much more at home than one predominantly cool with greens and blues like my apartment. So what I really do now that you know these specific nuance is to try them, okay? To put it into practice and see the effect that it has on you. You can start with small things like the color of a pillow, the phone case, and you will see that every time that you will see that object, it's like, oh, that's nice. Oh, it's nice. It's wonderful. And basically in this way, you will love everything that incorporate those colors. Yeah, it's like a little trick somehow.
So it's funny. So you did the test, and obviously you're listening to my replies. You're seeing what I'm selecting. So you obviously got to know me a little bit more. So in the end, I think my preferred colors were a light yellow, a sagey green, and this golden yellow. Like it's almost an orange, but there was also like a very light lilac. So you're fully allowed to tell the audience what that says about me. So what was that? So you obviously, you saw me before the interview, before I did the test. We talked a little bit. Were you surprised by the colors or not? And what was it, because I was a little bit surprised, at least for the light yellow, the light violet. I was like, interesting. But also, was it coherent to the test and to me? And what did it say about me?
This is a question that usually people ask me, like once they see the color palette, it's like, okay, now you have to interpret. Give me a meaning. What does it mean? Basically, in your case, Judith, you are a serial killer. See, I knew that. No. You love the sun. I don't know. This is what I really love, because when I teach this tool, or when I used to do it by myself, it's like there is no judgment in the good and in the way, in the good and in the bad way, in the worst way, because this is what it's important for you. Okay. What do you think based on your past experience? It's beautiful for you. And as I said, the color that you were surrounded was totally random. Okay. And the situation that happened, and for you was like a very intense, beautiful, emotional situation, was random. So it's like a combination of random emotions, positive emotions, with random colors. And this is what you recorded. Basically, it's like a photography, more or less, of what you memorized. And for analogy, like by analogy, your brain, when sees those colors, is like the same that living again those moments. And essentially, this test delves into the implicit associations we make between colors and emotions, and basically makes us aware of which nuance embody those moments. When a color is present in a palette, it can bother us, okay? But if we wouldn't have expected, as you, basically it means that we brought a new level of awareness at the surface, even though if it's not among of your favorite colors, as you said, you have yellow and some greens, but you choose it basically, and you confirmed several times, okay, at least 3. There are really important stages. So if it's that persistent in the test and continue to show up, basically it means that it's familiar to you. And if you choose it, it's because it conveys something pleasant to you. Maybe it's not a wow color, okay, but definitely has a positive association. And I understand that being aware that it's not among your favorite colors and that it stands alone in that purple family, let's say, it might not be suitable for larger surfaces for you, okay? But it can catch your attention if it's the color of an accessory, for example. And combined with other colors, it allows me to create variety in the design that will align with your color preference.
Yeah, certainly. And then we also did, as you said, another test. So you have the one for interior design, and then you have the test which is more personal color, perhaps product color, for example, which has more bright colors.
Mm-hmm.
How does my brain or my past experience do that selection? I mean, first it goes for, in my case, warm or soft. It did again as well for the brighter ones, but there were more colors present there. Like, how does that work? How do I for once select a certain type of colors, and then the second time I have a lot more brights, and finally I had some blues.
Blues and greens, and the darker ones. As I said in the beginning, if I would combine the both tests, like, and in all will be like 500 colors, probably you will have the same result from the beginning. But I love to create like two separate tests, because in interior design, we don't use colors. So if I put those colors that are super bright, really people will freak out. It's like, oh my God, yes, I like colors, but I would not never put it in my apartment. But with like the colors that we already are familiar to see them in interiors, because we saw it to our family places on the, I don't know, magazines, shows and everything. For us, it's a little bit more doable. Okay. So I like to do these little steps, and choosing a color that makes us feel good is indeed quite challenging, because as I said before, we are influenced by countless external factors. This is culture. This is current trends, professional telling us what is right and what is wrong. And all these play a role. And in short, listening to that little voice that confirms a color is one you'd like to surround yourself with, it's not that simple. Okay. And I saw this on myself, and I see this daily with my clients. But we have to ask somehow like a very important question somehow. Are we authentic in our choices? Okay. For example, when we buy clothing, as I said before, do we do it because we know that color is suit us, or it is because certain colors are more professional at work? Okay. So we have this kind of fear of what people could think. And I choose this color because I really like it, or am I thinking about what the other people may think? Okay. And the logical and emotional aspect are two sides of the same coin. And if they are not in harmony, they can contradict each other's. But this is a completely whole story. Like the person that love white environments, this is also saying a lot about her emotional containment. So she preferred to see everything candid, because she's dealing with so many emotions inside. So to see them also outside would be too much for her. So it's like a psychological work that she should approach somehow, or to make more introspection. But yes, we need colors. It's like, and basically what happens with people that take the test with me, they become more color aware, I would say. Like they have a kind of confirmation. Okay. And it's like a guarantee that what they felt was right. Okay. But in reality, I explain why they feel what they feel about those colors. And some feel relieved that they didn't have to think about the question and to think about this abstract concept for themselves too much. And then it's as if they become aware of the things in their home that are of those colors. So they really are, okay, look, my sofa is of that color and I love it so much. It's like, okay, let's start to become aware why we choose things and why we like things. And as I said, colors, it's really have a huge impact on this aesthetic decision. And another thing that it's somehow they understand this kind of trick behind why something they see appeals them. So when they see something in a new shop, a new stuff in a shop, they say, oh my God, it's beautiful. And then they realize, oh, sure, it's because it's that color that caught my attention and it's speaking to me. Okay. It's speaking to me and it allows me to see that specific thing around hundreds of information and things that we are surrounded by, but we are like, our attention is catched by that. And so we can do the opposite, basically. When we need to buy something, okay, and I really love to do this, we can navigate within our color palette because through color, we can create an emotional connection. And those somehow add value to the new object that we introduce into our homes.
So you're creating awareness. You're not only helping people to pick the colors that they really are going to be happy with, because obviously if you surround yourself with the colors of your happy moments, you get to relive those moments. And that means generally you're happier in the space that you have decorated and colored within those colors. But it's also about awareness. That very often happens when I do trend presentations, but also in past podcasts, I was told by multiple color therapists and color, let's say experts in color, that my color is yellow. It was again confirmed completely by the test, of course, that we did together. So it makes me aware when I go shopping. So now I'm aware that I'm choosing colors in that family. So starting even from beige to perhaps the darker yellows. So that is indeed a conscious work that you're helping people with. And what I personally love so much about this explanation of yours is exactly that. You know, you relive happy moments. So you pick colors because you were happy in those moments. And I think that's what color should be about. You know, it's about triggering again your happy experience and your happy moments. And I think that it's a great thing about what you're doing with this project and with this methodology. You're bringing people closer to themselves in the end. You're bringing them to where they need to be. So yeah, very, very interesting and congrats on that.
Thank you, dude. It's sweet. Thank you. Thank you.
What are the next steps? Because you talked to me about digitalizing this because now it's something that you do with your clients. What are the next steps for this methodology? Like what is next for this to bring it to a bigger audience?
Yeah. So I will come back a little bit to the compliments. I will take it all. And it's funny because it reminds me about what I used to answer when people ask me what I do for a living. So I used to reply like, I make people happy. And someone, it's like giving me a puzzle look. It's like, in which way? And it's funny, but it's funny and it's true because scientifically speaking, in addition to simplify the color selection in this just 30 minutes, 40 minutes of the consultation, and not just me, but also the people that learn this method, that can help other people and can make people happy, basically are those stimulus, those informations, let's say, that the brains of the client has stored as a safe and pleasant. So yeah, it's basically understanding these chromatic stimuli with a unique and personal value. And for you, as you said before, this yellow, when I think to you and those yellows, for example, I will use those colors to create, like, I will for sure put it in every kind of combination that will do for you. And because you choose it as your favorite, I will certainly use them for larger surfaces because I know they are important for you. And that's why I'll give them more space somehow. So as I invited you to try, because it's beautiful to see the satisfaction that you will give back, that you will receive, that you feel. And this is what I receive, like daily feedbacks from the clients. Is like, I mean, I'm touching the walls. I'm really happy. I'm connected with the place. I feel home finally. And yeah, this is just because everything, and they have a lot of people. I consider they are courageous and tint with their personal colors, like almost everything. And it's really powerful tool for me. and the superpower they have, and they will have like for a very long time, because those colors will not change like in a very few moments, months, maybe in some years, because it's related to our memories. So when we create a new memory that it's stronger, that we can also rewrite a meaning, yes, we will change a little bit. We will see some difference. But this is, it's about years. So at the moment, I'm teaching this method. And despite having like, I don't know, more or less 300 professionals using this tool independently, I want to fully digitalize this method to create a platform that allows you to have your own personal color consultant using this method and this philosophy, let's say. A platform that lets you take the test, view the result, and receive an in-depth analysis I mentioned earlier, like your favorite color, the main chromatic family ranking that you have, the whole combination that you can do to understand if you love more basic on how many colors and the quality, if you love more lighter or darker environments, cooler or warmer environments. So there are so many information that we can collect from your personal palette to create an environment that for you say something meaningful. And in this platform, absolutely, most of all, I want to create a part dedicated to research and education regarding to the evolution of the color and evolution that we have undergone in the last 20 years. Okay, because I really believe and I see that we need to update what we think about colors, because there are theories that are so old, and nowadays we really have so many new tools that we can read the minds, we can understand what is going inside the brain and why we react, how we react. And I'm building a team, and if I may, I'd like to make like an open call for all those who resonate with this project to help me to bring it to light in the best way possible. And for sure, the first market will be Italy, given the enormous numbers of architects we have. And until then, yes, I will continue with various consultation, teaching the method, and spreading the subjectivity of color. And most of all, I want to thank you again, over and over, for this wonderful opportunity, and to let you know that your podcast features like the most interesting figures in the field of color. When I discovered, I was like just amazed. I was like doing like a full immersion in every episode. And yes, congratulations for the dedication and what do you do. And I'm really happy to be here with you.
Now you're part of it. You're part of the podcast, because I think what you do is, as I said, it's next in color. It's super important, your research. And I'm sure that you're going to get a lot of replies to that open call. Trust me.
I'm curious. I'm really open. And yeah, I really want to, and this is already what I saw. It's already a natural selection, people that come to me, they're really open-minded and want to this kind of personalization to the fullest. But yeah, I really want to work with like-minded and to share this theory.
Well, thank you for sharing this. And as I said, this is not the end of it. So this is just the start, with the podcast and everything you'll see. Thank you for your time and for sharing all of your amazing research and knowledge. And I hope to see you back on TCA very soon.
Yeah, I can't wait with new things, with new ideas and new projects, because it's possible to do so many things with this. And I can't wait to have the opportunity to explore more. Yeah, here we are.
Color is never ending.
Never ending story. Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this last episode. If you are a fan of the Color Authority podcast, please let us know by reviewing and rating our show on whichever platform you're listening on. The next episode is coming out next month. And in the meantime, I'm wishing you a wonderful, colorful day.